There's no denying that the most popular genre around these days is the superhero movie genre. Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight trilogy proved that comic book adaptations could be just as dramatic and heavy as non-genre films. Though we have to give credit to Sam Raimi and the Blade films for kicking off Blade and Spider-Man in the early 2000s. Marvel Studios jumpstarted a massive interconnected series of superhero movies that were significantly more colorful and humorous, and audiences have been turning out to both kinds of superhero films in droves. That would being the MCU. With nearly every major studio now working to turn its own comic book properties into the next big thing, and with Marvel Studios and Warner Bros., in this video we will tell you about the top upcoming superhero films. Black Widow. Release date of July 9th in 2021, directed by Kate Shortland, and it stars Scarlett Johansson, Rachel Weisz, Florence Pugh, O.T. Fagbanel, and David Harbour. What we know so far, a standalone Black Widow movie has long been requested by fans. A little too late, but meh, and Marvel Studios finally pulled the trigger, locking in this past-set standalone movie as the first film of the MCU's Phase 4. Scarlett Johansson handpicked indie filmmaker Kate Shortland to direct after an exhaustive search. Florence Pugh plays Yelena, who comic fans know as the character who eventually takes on the mantle of Black Widow, while David Harbour plays Red Guardian, the USSR equivalent of Captain America. The film was originally scheduled to be released on May 1st of 2020, but was pushed due to the COVID-19 shutdown. It will now be released on theaters and on Disney Plus on the same day. Venom, Let There Be Carnage. It's going to be released on 25th of June in 2021, and it is directed by Andy Serkis. And it stars the returning Tom Hardy, Michelle Williams, and introducing Carnage, played by Woody Harrelson. And of course, there's also Naomi Harris and Stephen Graham. This is Venom 2. The first Venom was released on the same weekend in October and has now grossed over $800 million worldwide, which is kind of insane, thinking about it. It wasn't even like R-rated. It should have been, but... So, this is one superhero movie whose post-credit scenes sequence doesn't seem to have been for naught, as we'll see Woody Harrelson's Carnage front and center in this follow-up alongside Naomi Harris as villain Shriek. The film was originally scheduled to be released on October 2nd of 2020, but was pushed due to the COVID-19 shutdown. The Suicide Squad. It will be released on the August 8th of 2021. It is directed by James Gunn, and it stars the returning Margot Robbie, Jai Courtney, Viola Davis, Joel Kinnaman, with the new people, Idris Elba, Nathan Fillion, and Sylvester Stallone. When it was clear that David Ayer wasn't coming back to direct a Suicide Squad sequel, Warner Bros. Looked at some intriguing names for his replacement. Mel Gibson was approached towards the end of 2016, but the studio eventually moved on and offered the movie to James Collet-Serra of The Shallows and Non-Stop fame to take the helm, only to see him pass. Gavin O'Connor was subsequently set to direct, but when his take came out similar to the plot of the Birds of Prey movie, which is going into production first, he became frustrated and moved on. Subsequently, Warner Bros. Looked out and approached the one and only James Gunn, famously known for creating the Guardians of the Galaxy in the big screen, to write the script from scratch and direct. Indeed, months later it was announced that Gunn would be directing this R-rated film, which is titled The Suicide Squad, as more of a reboot than a sequel. Though for this time, additionally, we're adding Idris Elba, who plays Bloodsport. And then there's also David Dastmalchian as the Polka Dot Man, Daniela Melchior as Ratcatcher, John Cena, yep, you can't see me, as Peacemaker, and Sylvester Stallone as voicing King Shark, which is gonna be a blast. Eternals. It will be released on November 5th of 2021. It is directed by Chloe Zhao. The cast includes Gemma Chen as Cersei, Richard Madden as Icarus, Kumail Nanjiani as Kingo, Lauren Ridloff as Makari, Brian Tyree Henry as Pastos, Selma Hayek as Ajak, Laia McHugh as Sprite, Don Lee as Gilgamesh, Barry Keoghan as Dreeg, Kit Harington as Dane Whitman, and Angelina Jolie as Tana. Eternals is based on a comic series created by Jack Kirby and revolves around a group of superpowered and nearly immortal beings. Marvel enlisted Oscar-winning Nomadland director Chloe Zhao to take the helm, and subsequently assembled the tremendous A-list ensemble. Not only is the movie expected to feature an openly gay superhero character, but Lauren Ridloff is playing the first deaf superhero in the MCU. It was going to be released on November 6th of 2020, but again was pushed due to COVID-19. Spider-Man: No Way Home. The release date is December 17th, 2021. directed by John Watts. The returning cast includes Tom Holland, Zendaya, Jacob Batalon, Marissa Tomei, with the addition of J.B. Smoove, Jamie Foxx, Alfred Molina, Benedict Cumberbatch, and maybe the 2 OG Spider-Men. Just as Spider-Man Far From Home was hitting theaters worldwide, Marvel Studios and Sony Pictures were locked in continuous negotiations regarding the extension of their partnership on future Spider-Man films. Briefly, Sony still holds a license to Spider-Man, but starting with the Spider-Man Homecoming brought Marvel Studios and its president Kevin Feige on board to serve as a lead creative producer to help steer the direction of that film, and subsequently its sequel given how well Homecoming performed. In December of 2019, talks between both sides broke down over how to proceed. But in September, the two sides came to an agreement on at least one more Spider-Man movie starring Holland. Far From Home writers Chris McKenna and Eric Sommers returned to pen the screenplay. In the Homecoming and Far From Home, helmer John Watts is back as in the director's chair. Plot details are firmly under wraps, but with the confirmed involvement of Jamie Foxx as Electro and Alfred Molina as Doc Ock, plus the rumored involvement of Andrew Garfield, Emma Stone, Kirsten Dunst, and Tobey Maguire, the OG legend, this movie is likely to blast the multiverse wide open. The film was going to be released in July of 2021, but was pushed due to the COVID-19 shutdown. Morbius. It will be released on January 28th of 2022. It is directed by Daniel Espinosa. The cast includes Jared Leto, Adria Arjona, Matt Smith, Jared Harris, and Tyrese Gibson. This is Sony's next Marvel Comics adaptation after Venom 2 and Spider-Man No Way Home. Jared Leto plays a titular character, a vampire, with Daniel Espinosa directing. The film will also connect to the Marvel Cinematic Universe somehow via a cameo from Michael Keaton's character from Spider-Man Homecoming, the Vulture. The film was originally going to be released on July 31st of 2020, but was pushed due to the COVID-19 shutdown, like every other film. The Batman. It is to be released on March 4th of 2022. It is directed by Matt Reeves. The cast includes Robert Pattinson, Zoe Kravitz, Paul Dano, Colin Farrell, Peter Sarsgaard, and Jeffrey Wright. What we know so far. This one has been a long time coming. Warner Bros. Finally got Ben Affleck to agree to direct and star in a Batman standalone film called The Batman in 2015, with Affleck having penned a script with Jeff Jones. However, Affleck subsequently stepped down from the director's chair, opting instead just to star in his standalone, while Warner Bros. Set Dawn of the Planet of the Apes filmmaker Matt Reeves to take the helm instead. After over 2 years of rumor as to whether Affleck would or would not star, Warner Bros. Has finally confirmed that he'll be moving aside and making way for a new Caped Crusader. Reeves' take is described as a noir-tinged and will star Robert Pattinson as a younger Batman Bruce Wayne than Affleck's iteration. Pattinson beat out Nicholas Hoult for the role, with Zoe Kravitz subsequently cast as Catwoman and Jeffrey Wright cast as Commissioner Gordon. Jonah Hill was in talks to play the Riddler, but when those talks broke down, Paul Dano was cast as the iconic villain instead. Colin Farrell subsequently signed on to play the Penguin. The film will also be homing in on the detective aspect of the Batman comics that hasn't been fully explored in the films, and began filming in the early 2020 in London. Greg Fraser is the cinematographer, and Michael Giacchino is gonna be composing the score. The film was originally scheduled to be released on June 25th of 2021, but was pushed due to the COVID-19 shutdown. Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. It will be released on March 25th of 2022. It is directed by the one and only, hail to the king, baby, Sam Raimi. The cast, of course, includes Benedict Cumberbatch, Elizabeth Olsen, Benedict Wong, Rachel McAdams, Chiwetel Ejiofor, and Xochitl Gomez. What we know so far. While 2016's Doctor Strange was no doubt intended to start a new franchise, the follow-up was put on the back burner so Benedict Cumberbatch's character could take a key role in Avengers Infinity War and Endgame. In December of 2018, it was revealed that Derrickson had quietly closed the deal to return and direct the Doctor Strange sequel, and at the San Diego Comic-Con 2019, Marvel confirmed that Derrickson and Cumberbatch are returning for Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Derrickson described the film as the first ever scary MCU film, and it will co-star Elizabeth Olsen as Wanda Maximoff, Scarlet Witch, with events that tie directly into the Disney Plus series WandaVision. But in January of 2020, Derrickson left the director's chair over creative differences. He retains an executive producer credit, but Marvel subsequently entered negotiations with legendary filmmaker, hail to the king, baby, Sam Raimi, to take on directing duties. The film was originally going to be scheduled to release on May 7th in 2021, but was pushed due to the COVID-19 shutdown. Thor: Love and Thunder. It is to be released on May 6th of 2022. Directed by, of course, the one and only Taika Waititi. The cast includes Chris Hemsworth, Natalie Portman, Tessa Thompson, and newcomer, or should I say, too good of a newcomer, Christian Bale. What we know so far. Marvel signed Thor Ragnarok filmmaker Taika Waititi to return to write and direct Thor 4 in July of 2019, but at Comic-Con a few weeks later, Marvel broke the big news. The film will feature the return of Natalie Portman as Jane Foster, who becomes the MCU's first female Thor. She'll co-star opposite Chris Hemsworth as well as Lebowski Thor, I guess, and Tessa Thompson as Valkyrie, who was deemed King of Asgard at the end of Avengers Endgame. In January of 2020, Christian Bale entered talks to join the cast as the villain, Gore the Butcher. The film was originally scheduled to be released on November 5th of 2021, but was pushed due to COVID-19. Black Adam. It is to be released on July 29th of 2022. It is going to be directed by Jaume Collet-Serra. The cast is Dwayne Johnson, Noah Centineo, Aldous Hodge, Pierce Brosnan, and Quintessa Swindell. What we know so far. This project first surfaced years ago when Warner Bros. Secured Dwayne Johnson to play Shazam villain Black Adam. The idea was for Johnson to star in the Shazam movie, but in the spring of 2017, Johnson revealed that they had decided to make two separate movies, one for Shazam and one for his antagonist, anti-hero, Black Adam. Johnson would lead the latter while Shazam moved forward separately and became a success. This one's been in development for a long time, but movement is starting to occur as Warner Bros. Set due date writer Adam Sezickiel to pen the screenplay. The film finally found a director in Jaume Collet-Serra, with whom Johnson worked on Disney's upcoming Jungle Cruise movie. Filming was scheduled to begin in July of 2020, but is delayed due to the COVID-19 shutdown. But the story will involve characters like the Atom Smasher, Cyclone, and Hawkman, with Pierce Brosnan playing Dr. Fate. This is it for today, folks. Subscribe to our channel for more videos, and we will see you in the next video. And remember, do not spoil the movies if you find some spoilers. Also, goodbye.